how's it going?
I'm good. I'm okay. It's just been, pretty crazy. How are you?
Yes. I'm okay. I'm doing all right. I'm
Okay, that's
surviving,
good.
so that's good.
Yeah, right.
So you are in like 3 or 4 different projects.
Well, actually, it's more than that, but I
Oh
mean,
my gosh.
there's only like two or three. Well, there's like three that are going on right now, and then the others are kind of in the process of getting back to normal, I
Okay.
guess.
Okay. So what are the main ones? Like, what are your main ones? What do you, I don't know.
Okay, so my main projects right now, number one would be probably Saint Tragedy. That is the band that I'm currently doing shows with still.
Okay.
And we just put an EP out, most active band. We've been on the radio a little bit. And then
Oh,
Motion
that's
Picture
awesome.
Mindset would be my number two. That's my baby. We're just going to start recording next weekend for our new album. We don't really do shows or anything right now, but uh, it's not as active as far as shows go, but it's more active as far as, uh, putting music into the band and recording and everything like that. And
Okay.
then I have Bless the Martyr, which I just did my first few shows with over the
Oh,
last
okay.
3 months. And we just put a single out, and then we're going to have an EP come out over the spring.
Oh,
So
wow.
those are the ones that are active right now, and the other ones are kind of on a break at the moment, or kind of like starting up. And then actually, I'm in Reach for the Skies as well. I don't know if you remember that. That's my
Yes, I
solo
do.
project. Yeah,
Yep.
my solo project. That is actually starting back up.
Oh, wow.
So I am going to be doing my solo project again. So that's going to be another thing that's coming soon. So
So you're very busy.
yeah, always. Well, I've been very busy for the last probably five, I think 6 years now. 6 years I've been back
Wow.
in the music scene. Yeah,
That's awesome. Good for
yeah.
you. And you're
Thank
and
you.
you're working on top of that also, right?
Yes, I'm a
Oh
school
my
bus
gosh.
driver. Yeah,
Oh, that's must be fun.
it's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting.
Well, that's awesome. So, out of all the projects besides your solo stuff, well, we can start with the solo stuff. So, Reach for the Sky is like, what kind of is your goal with that? Like, what do you do in that? And like your genre, you know,
Okay,
what
so
is,
Reach for the Skies is it started off as an acoustic project,
okay.
and then eventually I learned how to program all the other instruments into tracks, and then I figured out how to transfer those tracks into a recording program, and then I figured out how to record my vocals into that and create, basically music for MySpace,
Hmm.
the music that was before SoundCloud.
Hmm.
So that was more of like it was more like an electronic project at first, because I was very inspired by Owl City and Breathe Carolina, and
Hmm.
also along with Blink 182 and other metalcore bands and stuff like that. So um, that was kind of like a mix of everything I listened to, like just blended into one weird genre. And I I kind of stepped off of that for a little while, but recently I came back with it, and it's turned back into an acoustic project, because I just started kind of writing stuff on acoustic again, putting
Hmm.
videos out for that. And now I'm actually in the process of trying to, because of my resources that I've gained over the years, now I have ways to record all of my instruments. And then I have like a synthesizer, uh, like a synth um, keyboard that I can use to get all my other tracks in there. And I still know how to program stuff. So I'm going to be able to put all of that stuff together, and probably still put programmed drums rather than real drums, but we'll see, because I
Yeah.
can record real drums now. But I think that's going to go from more of an electronic project to more of like a synth pop punk project.
That's kind of big right now too. That's
Yeah,
like
so it's
coming
kind of
back.
like,
So
yeah. So so that's kind of, and it kind of like has, you know, some of it's kind of like alternative, and some of it can be kind of grunge, and some of it can be more folky, I guess. So it's kind of just Reach for the Skies is just kind of like whatever my brain comes up with
hey,
at
that's
the moment.
awesome. That's
Yeah.
really
So,
cool.
yeah.
And
So it's kind of multi-genre.
that's fine because that's the thing that I kind of have noticed with music scene, you know, in the past couple of years, especially with quarantine. A lot of people are exploring different things. People are going solo, like Haley Williams went solo for a little bit,
Oh yeah, yeah. So
and you know, and there's a lot of synths in that. And there's just everyone's kind of reaching out and doing their own thing, and it's kind of like some of the stuff is mixed, and I think that's great
yeah,
because that's part of being an artist and creative is trying different things. You know, you're doing this solo thing and you do two other bands, which are, or two or three other bands and they're different genres. And that's
yeah,
great because you're not stuck to one thing. You're not saying, oh, I'm just pop punk or I'm just this or that. You're
yeah.
exploring different fields. And I think, do you feel that that helps you in other areas, like when you're doing your solo stuff or your stuff with um, motion picture mindset or anything, like what you take from one project, like does it help you with other, be creative in other aspects?
Yeah, absolutely. Because that's the thing, is that because of my versatility, I've been able to I started off in a band that was more like, I guess, hard rock, or like it was like hard rock with pop punk, like classic rock. It was a very weird mix of genres, but that's what kind of started me back into the music scene on drums. And then, you know, having the pop punk background, I was able to add a pop punk flair to like a hard rock sound.
Mm-hmm.
And going into the music scene and starting to actually be in a music scene in like the Kenosha and between Kenosha and Chicago, it ended up being like people would see me drum out there, and then people after every show, they're like, hey, that was an awesome set, I really like this, I really like that. And then I would get people like, hey, are you looking to be in another band, and can you play this and can you play that? And then I would join another band, and then people would see that I was in like a hard rock group and a pop punk group, and then they would ask me to join a grunge group, and then I would be in that, and then people would be like, I've seen you in this band and I've seen you in this band, and can you play this? And I would be like, yeah. So then I would go into another band and I would start playing, I started playing metalcore. And then, you know, it was just like kind of like that versatility. I add all of those elements into each song, and then those songs completely sound different. You know, when I'm jumping into projects that have already been established and I'm adding my
Yeah.
own flair, then all of a sudden the bands sound completely different. And then
Mm-hmm.
people are like, I guess it kind of brings more life to things because you're not stuck in a box. And then, you know, you kind of branch one genre into other genres. You know, you kind of make a band kind of, you know, vibe with people that have more of a taste in one particular genre, you know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
it's really helped in a lot of aspects as far as kind of allowing me to kind of have these other bands that I've been in jump in with some of my other projects. Like sometimes I'll play shows with 2 or 3 bands on one bill.
Oh wow.
So, but it's because I'm there, and you
Mm-hmm.
know, and then it's like, then people, you know, that like pop punk, they'll come to my shows with my hard rock group and they'll be like, dude, that was awesome, you know what I mean? And they don't typically listen to that kind of stuff, but they'll still listen because I'm there and I'm kind of bringing those other elements into the music.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, it's been pretty cool.
Oh, that is really cool. So where's like the furthest show you've played so far?
Oh, for the show I played was definitely probably it was a show in Marshfield a couple months ago, and Marshfield is up north in Wisconsin. It's like the middle of Wisconsin. That was about 3.5 hours away, I want to say, almost 4 hours.
Okay. Have you
So
guys have any of your projects like have you thought about touring at all? I mean, despite what's going on with COVID,
yeah.
have you guys thought about that?
Well, my
You
my
thought about
band
that?
Saint Tragedy, I've thought about it. My band Saint Tragedy right now has been kind of, we've been discussing touring and stuff like that. And I was in a it was in another band called Inbound that has done some out of state stuff, but we were supposed to go on some tours and they kind of fell through because of some issues that happened with booking and everything. But
Mm,
Saint Tragedy is more so looking to do some touring, hopefully. And right now we're actually in the middle of kind of trying to play some shows with some bands that are out of state that could possibly be links to, touring in Texas or, stuff like that.
mhm.
So I've thought about it, and because I'm a school bus driver, I have a lot of time off. So it could mean like, a 2 week leg of a tour here and a 2 week leg of a tour there.
Mhm.
So I've definitely thought about it, and it looks like it's a very possible thing in the near future. And
Oh,
hopefully, something can come of that, but it's still a work in progress.
oh, sounds like it.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you stay really busy. So besides like being musician, do you take any other parts like business aspect, or are you interested in producing? Do you do any of like working with like agents or booking, or do you do any of that yourself? Or do you?
Um, well, I used to do booking by myself when I did Reach for the Skies in the beginning because I was
Okay.
solo. And so I kind of have an idea of that kind of thing. And with motion picture, I typically will do the booking for that. Sometimes we'll have, offers come in or whatever, but I was usually the one that was kind of like reaching out and, you know, kind of making the connections from the other bands of places to play and stuff like that. So networking is a huge part of what I do, no matter what band I'm in. So
Okay.
I have
And
connections to
that's
people
important.
in, yeah, so I have connections to people in recording studios. I have connections to people, we have a manager for St. Tragedy now. We have a financial advisor. Um,
Wow.
and I typically will, handle a lot of things as far as merch. Like I've had to do my own merch, and I've had to reach out and find people who do art, and I've had to, I kind of had to do like a bunch of things on my own because I'm in all these different projects. And
Hmm.
I've learned how to get my music on
Oh wow.
streaming platforms. I've pretty much learned how to do almost everything. And I have done some audio production and stuff on my own from when I was first doing Reach for the Skies. So I have some knowledge in that, but I'm not great. So I kind of have like a foot in like every door a little bit, I
Yeah.
guess I would say. But I can't really do everything by myself. So I always try to network and try to find somebody who can do something better than I can, and try to
Okay.
utilize that if I can and if I have the funds for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you ever be interested in producing?
I have had some interest in it. I'm actually right now I'm trying to mess around with trying to get some recording and stuff done for my solo project. I want to try to see if I can do it on my own. And if I can't, then I'm going to have to reach out to somebody. But
Yeah.
I'm trying to get back into that. And I have like produced beats and stuff before. Obviously I produced like all of Reach for the Sky stuff back when I first was starting. So but I definitely want to try to get back into it. It's just mostly a time issue as far
Hmm.
as free time, because I have so many things going on already, and I still need time for myself, for my mental health
Oh, of
and
course.
to recover and everything like that as well.
You need downtime, and I think that's a
Yeah.
big thing with being creative anyway, is sometimes the most creative things come out of downtime, just sitting there
Oh
because you're not
yeah.
doing anything.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
you notice that at all for
I've
you?
noticed it here and there. If I kind of, I find a lot of ideas come to me. I guess, yeah, in more silent situations. Most of my ideas usually come when I'm driving or in the shower. A lot of the
Right?
time. So I always have to have my phone on me so I can, and that's the other thing I do is like whenever I have ideas or whatever, then I typically will, if I can't record it on my phone, like if I'm driving the bus or something, then I'll just kind of sing it in my head, and I'll sing it in my head, and I'll keep it running and running as much as I can
Hmm.
until I can stop. And then I use my voice memos on my phone, and then I'll always sing my
Okay.
ideas out because I'll forget them because I already have a very bad memory. So I have to constantly be, on myself about it. So I utilize my phone a lot as far as typing ideas in or
Hmm.
using voice memos to get things down. If I'm in the shower, I have my phone right there just so I can take it out of the shower or take it and then record it while I'm
Yeah.
in there. So I mean that's a lot of what I do as far as that kind of stuff. But yeah, downtime can definitely help. And especially like when I'm going through something, it always seems to be when I'm going through a hard time, that's when
Hmm.
my ideas typically are booming.
A lot
So
of people say that. A lot of people
yeah,
say when they're going through certain things, and I think that's probably because it helps you work through it, you know.
yeah, it's more
Because
of a
in
coping mechanism for me.
hmm
So
I mean, if you,
that's usually when. So
well, I mean, it's pretty much all based on emotion, you know. And if
yeah,
you're feeling a certain way, you're trying to get it out, you know. And
yeah,
that's and for you, music is the art choice for you to express yourself, you know.
yeah, definitely. Yeah,
So
yeah.
for Saint Tragedy, what kind of like music do they do, and what do you do in that project?
Okay, so Saint Tragedy is more like a hard rock. Um, it's more of a hard rock project. It's I guess mostly it's compared to like Shinedown or Godsmack, stuff kind of
Okay.
along that kind of those kinds of lines. And I play drums in that band.
Okay.
So that band I actually just joined 2020 actually. I joined it in the middle of the pandemic because
Oh wow.
I was asked to join right before either right before or right when the shutdown happened in March.
Okay.
And at first I had turned it down because I was in, I think, four other bands at that point already. And it was like kind of like, I don't know, they're very demanding, because they play a lot of shows, they play like shows. They were playing shows almost every weekend. Sometimes they'd play shows, 2 or 3 shows a weekend.
Oh
So I
wow.
was like, I'm already in a band that's, playing 2 or 3 shows a month.
Yeah.
So it's like, the booking issues would be a huge problem. And I don't like to join bands if I'm going to be the reason why they're holding back.
Yeah.
So, I kind of sat on it a little bit. And with the pandemic and everything, I had some clashing stuff that happened between me and some other band members in a couple of the bands. And,
Mm.
because the pandemic really kind of opened my eyes about how people think
Mm.
and
Yes.
what their true priorities are, and you know how they felt about me as a human being. So
Mm.
um I had to kind of cut ties with some people, and
Hmm.
that opened up a lot of free time for me. And of course, Saint Tragedy, like I said, they're very demanding as a band. We do practices every single weekend. If we don't have a practice, it's because we're playing a show. So I once I had the free time open up, I was like, okay, well, just so you know, I'm going to be quitting so and so band, so I'm going to have free time, and you guys are going to be my priority now.
Hmm.
So I'm still going to be in these other bands, because this is the thing, is that those other guys, they're not in other bands. This is their
Yeah.
band.
Yeah.
So I told them I'm still going to keep the other bands, but you guys are going to be my priority. So if you can handle that, then I'm good to go.
Okay.
And so they had me come in for a rehearsal to to try out for them. So then I told Wayne, my lead singer, I told him, I was like, I'm not going to be able to come in right away because everything's shut down here. So I'm going to take a month, and we're going to see what happens after the shutdown. And I'm going to learn all the songs, and I'll bring them to you, and I'm going to put my own twist on them. So he said, okay. So there was, you know, some other people that were trying out, and uh, you know, they were trying to go through the set and stuff, and it didn't go as planned with the other people that were trying out. So when I came in, they had a set list, and I played through the entire set list. Okay, so I played through the entire set list. We played some of the other songs that weren't on the set list. So I played through every song, did it my own way. And I was pretty much above and beyond because I knew all their stuff already.
Yeah.
So then, you know, we did, I think, one other practice another day or something like that. And they were kind of like, okay, well, we're going to let you know what's going on because we have to be fair and we have to see, because they had a deadline, you know, to see when, you know, if anybody else was going to come in and try out. And then they cut the deadline early because they were like, that's the guy right there. That's the guy we're going to go with. Like, I learned all the songs. I did them all my own way. They were very surprised because the songs sounded completely different when I played them with them. And then after I joined the band, we played some of the set a little bit, and then we had some downtime. So we were like, okay, well, let's try to write. And so we wrote like 4 songs in the course of I think maybe 2 or 3 weeks, right off the bat. Yeah, and those songs are actually I think 2 of them are on the EP that we just put out, and then we have 2 more that are on the back burner for later on. So it was pretty cool. And but yeah, that's Saint Tragedy. I kind of went on a ramble there, but
that's okay. You're here to talk about all of them. So
yeah. So that's how that went.
So did you just meet them through networking?
Yeah. So I actually played a few shows with them when they had their other drummer, and I was in Inbound, the other band that the other band that I was in, one of the other bands I was in that I'm no longer in. But I was in Inbound. Yeah, but this Inbound was the band, I have to give a lot of credit because that was the band that got me into the scene in Wisconsin. So that's where I met many of the people that I ended up, pretty much everybody that I ended up meeting, besides the guys in motion picture. So because motion picture is more of a band made up of kids that went to school with me, and you know, it's just pretty much like, it was kind of like, you know, the networking there was mostly people from high school.
Yeah.
So
I kind of noticed that.
Yeah.
That's
so that's
awesome.
so that's the only thing that's really different with that. But every other band that I've been in from Inbound has been through networking from Inbound. So that's how I met Saint Tragedy, and that's how I met Wayne. And you know, he noticed that I was really good at drums, so as soon as they needed a drummer, he hit me up, and he asked me, you know, like I said, over the course of a month, if I would join, and I just kind of teetered on it until, you know, circumstances caused me to leave one of the bands I was in. So
that's awesome. So how did you meet how did you get involved with Inbound? How'd you get involved there?
This is a funny story, actually. So Inbound, I actually, the reason I joined Inbound was because of my best friend Caleb. So Caleb, he was dating this girl, and she had a friend that they had mutually become friends with, and this kid, I became friends with him a little bit, and he's like, he posted on Facebook like, oh, we're gonna jam today, blah blah blah. And so I was like, hey, where are you jamming at? And then he's told me where he was at, and I was like, do they have a drum set over there? And he's like, yeah. So I was like, okay, well, you should let me come by and hang out with you guys sometime. So he's like, well, come by. So I went over there, and he was the only one I knew. I didn't know any of the other guys that were over there. And so I went over there to jam, right? So they're like, okay, well, they let me go on the drums, and then they're like, we're gonna try to play this song or this song or this song or whatever. So there was like a couple songs that I kind of just jumped in on, and then there was some songs that they were covering, and I already knew the songs. So I didn't know them like how to play all of them, but I knew of the songs and I knew the structure, basic stuff, whatever. So I played through the songs, and then all of a sudden the singer's like, yeah, you know what? I think you're in the band. I was like, what? I came here to jam.
You're like, I just showed up here.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't even know that I didn't even know this was an audition.
Oh my gosh.
So it was an accident, and I was just like, okay. So I kind of accidentally joined the band, and it was actually the best thing that ever happened to me, really, because it got me into all this stuff. So
That's
um
awesome.
yeah, so Inbound was really the first project that I actually joined. And then after my kind of hiatus, from not doing music for, I want to say I hadn't done music in like 3 years. So
Oh wow. So how
yeah.
long, like when was your hiatus? Like what years you think about?
I pretty much stopped on my last show that I ever did. The last show I did was pretty much the last time I ever really wrote anything. And that was with my solo project, Reach for the Skies, in 2013. And then I didn't join Inbound until 2016. And in between there, I didn't do anything at all.
What
So
made you take hiatus, if you don't mind me asking?
I was going through some mental issues from
Okay.
a pretty toxic relationship that I was in. So yeah, so that pretty much took a lot of my mental focus, and then it kind of like I was just like, it's usually I have this point where I'm like, I have to, like, if I'm sad I can still do music, but if I'm too sad I can't. So I
Yes.
have like a nice little area where I can be like a little bit happy or like pretty sad. And that's my area where I can make music. If I'm too
Yeah.
happy, I'm too happy to do anything. And if
Yeah.
I'm too sad, I'm too sad to do anything. So
It's yeah. Like you're like when you're in that mode, you're like, oh, I feel like I can't do anything. Like you have no energy.
yeah, it's either I have no energy or I have too much energy and I want to go do other stuff. So I have a sweet spot that I have to be in. And yeah, it was a pretty toxic and damaging, it was damaging mentally, and it really took a lot of my focus. And I had used those few years in between there mostly to try uh to get myself together and to heal from that. And
Mhm.
I had finally actually gotten a job that, I became a janitor, and it was first full-time job. And I was walking around everywhere. I lost like 60 pounds. And then I was like in a really good headspace. I was making really good money for the time compared to what I was making.
Mhm.
And that's when I kind of started going out more. And then I was hanging out with Caleb a lot. And then it really just kind of swooped me into this opportunity to do this on accident. So
Hey, I'm sorry you went through that, but it sounds like
yeah.
it pushed you to where you needed to be.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. I think everything happens for a reason, and that,
Exactly.
was a big reason why I'm here. So
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
we're thankful for that.
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh yeah.
so your friend Caleb, you went to high school with him, correct?
Yes. And
And
he's
he's
actually, I went to elementary school with him, but I didn't really talk to him until high school.
okay.
So yeah.
Okay, yeah, because he didn't go to junior high with us, right?
He did actually. He did.
He
He
did.
went to Palumbie.
Okay.
Yeah, he went to
Oh,
Palumbie, but I didn't see him there. But he was in my brother's class in elementary school. I don't know if my brother talked to him in. He might have. He might have, but I don't really remember. All I know is that they were friends. They kind of were friends, and well, actually, Caleb was in band with me when he started at my high school. So that's
okay.
how me and Caleb started talking, really. And then he became really good friends with my brother because they went to school together mostly because they were in the same grade.
Okay,
So
okay. So that
yeah.
explains why I wouldn't know him.
Yeah, yeah,
Because I had moved shortly after that. But
yeah,
that's awesome that you guys, have stayed friends.
yeah.
Everyone else in that band, did you meet them around the same time?
Actually, I didn't meet those guys until right after um right after I had started back in music.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's a whole other story. That's a whole other story. But
So, oh, I'm sorry, you can go.
oh well, I was just gonna say with motion picture was actually called something else first.
Okay.
So it was called December Skyline, and I joined that because my buddy Jason, who I went to high school with, I was partying with him and stuff after high school, and that was in 2016 when I came back to the music scene after Inbound. And my buddy Jason, he's like, dude, check out this track. And he emailed me a track, and it was like an emo, like it was like emo kind of pop punk, you know,
Hmm.
like kind of I mean, it sounded like a MySpace era song. And so I was like, dude, like, how did you record this? Like, what is this?
Hmm.
And he's like, dude, you should come by. I'm starting a new band, and you should come and you should come by over here. And it was just a track. There was I mean, there was some vocals on it. There was some vocals on it. Jason did vocals on it. And then I went in there, and because he was a vocalist. And then he's like, you should come by and you should play bass. I was like, okay, I could do that. So I came by there and I was playing bass for him. And I don't know what happened. I don't really know what happened, but I ended up joining that band, and that was December Skyline. That band only really went for a year, and there was some issues with some of the members in the band. There was 5 of us in there, and then you know, 2 of the guys weren't really like, I guess they weren't really coming around to the practices.
Hmm.
So it was just me and the drummer. And I eventually, the other thing too is that with December Skyline, Jason was doing vocals, and then I sang something, or I wrote something to one of the songs we ended up writing in the studio. And I sang a part. I wrote a part for it, and then I sang in there, and they're like, um, well, hey, you try to write this song, or you know, whatever, because it was like kind of like Jason was having trouble trying to come up with a part for it, blah blah blah. So I wrote lyrics to one of the songs, and then I turned into the vocalist for that band. And then Jason went on the bass for it. And then Jason was doing backings, and I was doing just vocals. But anyway, so after December Skyline died down, me and the drummer and the guitarist, they're Matt and Phil, we're like, you know what, dude? Like, we've been in the studio, we've been writing all the songs, we've been doing everything. We come here every Monday. We've been keeping up with everything. So we're like, why don't we just keep the band going? But we don't want to like upset the other guys. So why don't we
Hmm.
just call it something else?
Ah, there you go.
So I was like, okay, okay, okay. And so I was like, you know, one day I was just kind of like, you know, doing my thing, whatever, probably working. And then all of a sudden I had like a name pop up in my head. I was like, you know what? And it's so goofy because it's like, it sounds so much like Motion City Soundtrack. It's the same kind of flow,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
So I was like, I thought motion picture mindset. And then I looked it up. I Googled it, and I was like, there's nothing with this. There's
Yeah.
nothing. So I was like, motion picture mindset, because it's like rose colored glasses. It's the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's so I came up with the name for that, and then
That's
we started
awesome.
that band like that. And then I was like, well, I'm doing vocals, but I can't do some of these songs, you know, and play bass. So I was
Hmm.
like, Caleb plays bass and he plays guitar. And I was like, Caleb, you want to join a band? You should come by and check out this band. And so that happened, and then we became a band. So,
That's awesome.
and yeah, we've gone through a little bit of a lineup change as of late, because our drummer Matt, he injured his wrist, and he had to get like 7
Oh.
screws in his wrist, so he couldn't play
Oh.
drums anymore. Motion
Yikes.
Picture is like a weird band because when we first started, we were doing like a musical chairs.
Okay.
So we would do where, you know, I was playing drums on some songs, but I didn't want to play drums because
Hmm.
I was already playing drums in Inbound, and I was singing in December Skyline, and I still wanted to sing, but playing drums and singing all the time was very difficult
Hmm.
with some of the songs we were writing. So Matt still played drums, because it's December Skyline. So I was like, how about I'll play drums on some songs, you play drums on some songs. He ended up getting a guitar and he was playing guitar on some songs, and we would just switch in the middle of our sets.
Oh, wow.
So it was really random. So then after Matt hurt himself, I was like, dude, we have to figure something out because you can't play drums. He had gotten hurt from work, so he had a workers' comp, and obviously can't do anything.
No.
So we had to find another drummer. So now we have another drummer, Nate, and he stepped in. And as far as Matt goes, we're still trying to figure out what to do with that, because he still can't really play anything because his case is still going after the past like 2 or 3 years. So,
oh, wow.
But as of right now, Motion Picture has 4 members still, and it's and we're still trying to figure out what to do with Matt. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So with all the projects, like what would you like the next step to be?
The next
you want to
step,
play more shows or?
Well, I mean, I love playing shows. But the next step for me is I want something to blow up, plain and simple. I want something to blow up.
Mm-hmm.
So that is why I have my foot in every door. I'm trying to find something that is going to do something. And I like, to play a lot of shows. So that's why I'm in so many different bands. And I have a short attention span. So I have to be in all these different genres to keep myself entertained, pretty much.
Yeah.
So, but I would love, of course, for something to blow up, and I would love to go on a tour. And, I want something to become something. And then I kind of want to bring whatever I can with me, in a sense. So that's kind of what it is.
Well, even if you get big with one thing, that doesn't mean you still can't have other projects,
Yes, of course. But I would like for some of those other projects to kind of have some sort of, go somewhere, or, have more, I guess, gain more attention when one of these projects hit, if they do. I say when because I believe that at least one of them will, at least one.
I hope so. I mean, that would be awesome.
It would definitely.
That's the reason you're putting in all this work.
Yeah.
So if you could pick one project to be if there was no other options, and you could pick one and you were like, this is the one I want to explode, which one do you see that happening with?
Well, there's gonna be some people mad at me. Anyway, it's fine.
Fine. You can answer it for each one.
Okay, so if I absolutely had to have one project, I'm gonna say this, and some people might get mad at me.
Nobody get mad.
They have to understand that this is the one. This is the oldest one, and this is my heart and soul. And it would be definitely 100% Motion Picture Mindset, because those are my best friends in the world.
Yeah.
And we all make music that we all love. We all absolutely love, and it comes from our heart, and it's like embedded in our blood type of thing. Like it's what we grew up with. Yes, it's what we grew up with. And I write vocal, I wrote vocal lines, and I write lyrics for it. And that band is so versatile because we have 3 vocalists, and we all write songs for the band. Mm-hmm. So some songs Phil writes, and some songs Phil will sing. Some songs Caleb writes, and sometimes Caleb will sing. And then I write songs and I sing. And then sometimes Caleb will write something and I'll sing it. And then Phil will write something and I'll sing it. Or I'll write something and Phil sings it, or Caleb sings it, or vice versa. Mm-hmm. So it's it's a very incorporated band. We all have a piece in it. And then, Nate just rips the drums on all of it. Yeah. And sometimes, he's tried to sing too. It's like one of those bands. It's like just fun, and that's what it is. It's for fun. It's
Yeah.
not like a business aspect. And if it were to ever catch on, then that would be the band that I want to do, because it's just my entire heart.
Yeah.
But if I were to say which band I believe is going to blow up, I'm going to say Saint Tragedy, because those guys, I mean, extremely professional, always booking shows, always networking, constantly, constantly working on new stuff and getting it out, and has super high quality, well, not super high quality, but very high quality recordings. And played with huge bands, got to play Blarney's with Pop Evil.
I saw that. That's awesome.
Yeah, got to play with 10 Years at
Cool.
at Stormy's in Beaver Dam. I mean, we've played with some big bands, and we played some really cool places, and that's the band I believe is going to blow up. And but I have love for all the bands. But those are the two that I think, the one that I hope will blow up, and the one that I think will blow up. I'll go with that is my answer.
There you go. That's a good answer.
Yeah, that's my answer.
So you played with Pop Evil, you played with 10 Years. That's awesome. Who else?
Yeah.
Like, what other bands have you played with?
Other bands that I played with, I know there's more of them. I played with Flaw. I played with, oh gosh, there's some other ones in there I can't remember. I played with Tantric. They're another touring band.
Oh, that's cool. I've heard about
and
that.
Yeah, and I also played with oh gosh, it's oh god, I remember their song. I just literally like listened to their song, and I can't remember their name.
That's okay. It'll come back.
Yeah, it will come back. But they do that song. It's like a grunge band too. It's got two guys, and it's like, I do it for the drugs. I don't know if you know what song. Bottom of the Bottle, their song is called.
That's
I can't remember. I can't remember. I literally just read their name too on Twitter, because yeah, I just saw them. But and they're gonna be touring with one of my buddies and one of my friends' bands over the, well, I think they're going on tour this week or this next week.
That's awesome.
Smile Empty Soul.
Yes.
That's
okay. Yes.
That's
yes,
the band.
I know them.
Smile Empty Soul I just played with over the summer too.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it was a huge summer for us. It was great.
That's great. I mean, and that's great, because when you play with bands like that are known, that gets you guys more known from other listeners. So
oh yeah. So we've had people that have come up to us like, oh, we saw you at the 10 Years show, or things like that. So or we played with oh my gosh, another band I can't remember. But anyway, so they'll be like, yeah, we saw you at this show, we saw you at that show. And so playing with these bigger bands, obviously bigger crowds. We played a couple shows that were sold out, because we were playing with huge bands. So
that's amazing.
It's so that's a lot of people, like, that's a lot of eyes on you. That's a lot of ears on you. And it's very humbling to have people kind of like come up to you and be like, hey, I know you from somewhere, aren't you in that band? Or can you, and then I'm signing things for people. It's just weird. Wow. It's really weird, but it's what I'm trying to do. It's what I've always envisioned, so it's really awesome. Even though we're not huge, we're getting airplay on the radio, and we're getting offers for shows. These are shows that we didn't look for. That's the other thing. These are opportunities that have been given to us, or like presented to us, because of how much hard work we've been putting in as a band. Mostly, I want to say, ever since I joined, we've just pretty much hit the foot on the gas, and like have been just doing everything we can to just prove ourselves, and it's been proving pretty well.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's just so cool that, like, you've played with these bands and you sold out, like what was your first like thought or feeling with that?
Well, it was pretty crazy. And we actually have a picture of us with the crowd because it was like the first show I think any of us sold out. And I really wish I could remember the name of the band right now, but the show was sold out and I was just looking out in the crowd and I'm just like, I can't see any space. There's like everybody's just like literally packed like sardines in this place,
Yeah.
all the way from the stage all the way to the back wall. And you
Wow.
can't even walk around in there. And
Mhm.
you know, as the days kind of going on, or as the show's going on, you can just feel like all the heat from how many bodies are packed in this place. And I just
Mhm.
kept looking out there and I'm just like, I cannot believe that there's this many people, because usually I look out in the crowd and there's like 8 people. You know what I mean? So I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, I'm just like, oh my God. And, you know, like there were times where obviously it was more than that, but it's like, there's like,
Mhm.
you know, people at the bar and then you have like a couple people staggered around and like nobody's in front of you
Mhm.
because nobody wants to stand in front of the stage because there's barely anybody there.
Mhm.
So it was a very interesting experience to have
Mhm.
that for the first time. So, I mean, it was unbelievable. And it's just like, you know, you don't really think that, you know, that's just gonna happen. But
No.
yeah, it was insane. It was insane.
If
So
you could if you could put any venue, like where would that be? Like your number one?
my number one, well, if I could play anything really, I've always wanted to play Warp Tour, and that's not gonna happen.
Maybe we can
But
make something come back.
yes, maybe we can. We're just gonna have to bully them. I mean, Twitter bullying seems to work nowadays.
Well, there's that when
So
you were young, that
yeah,
thing. So maybe they'll make that come around, you know.
yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I definitely need to have my tickets to still be $50. Oops,
You
sorry.
went away. It's okay.
Yeah, that's my fault. But yeah, I need tickets to still be $50 and I need the tour to span a couple months because I am
Well,
not paying 200 and whatever for tickets.
oh, I don't blame you. I sent you that meme about Travis with the
Oh
drumming.
yeah. Yeah, I mean literally that's
Oh,
like me. I feel the same way. That's like the same thing.
that you're drumming for all these bands.
Yeah, there's
Oh,
an ongoing joke that
well,
if anything happens to me, that like half of the music scene between Milwaukee and Chicago is going to lose a drummer.
so I actually watched an interview with him about drumming. So, and I never got into drumming. I always did guitar. I'm intrigued by it. It's a very active thing.
Oh
What do you
yeah,
do?
oh
What do
yeah.
you do to like help you stay in shape with that? Besides just
I'm in
practicing,
4 bands. I'm in 4 bands.
you just
That's how I
that's
stay
enough.
tight.
That's
Yeah.
enough. You
I
don't do
mean
anything
literally,
extra.
yeah, literally that's all I do. I mean I I there's not, I mean that's the only thing, and that was always my strategy too, is like, you know what, I don't have to practice if I just am always playing. So
True.
because it's so hard for me to find time to want to practice, or to do anything like that, so I just have multiple practices with different bands, and that keeps me very tight on everything. And it's kind of better to do it that way, because I mean to I mean it's I don't know. That's the only way that I can really get myself to justify being in all these bands, I guess. But it really does keep me sharp. And
Hmm.
I mean, kind of I guess the physical, upkeep on my body for that is pretty much done through just playing drums, because I'm using all the muscles that I'm always using. So
Hmm.
it keeps me sharp, and it keeps me very tight, I guess I would say. So
There you go.
yeah.
So, would you say drums are your number one, or like, what's your favorite instrument to play?
My favorite thing to do is I love to sing. I love to sing, and
Okay.
that's actually what I really, really love doing. And I don't like playing guitar, but that's the only way I can really sing when I'm doing stuff by myself.
Hmm.
I love playing drums, but it's not my favorite instrument. Um, it's just the one I'm most skillful at. Uh,
Okay.
because I've been playing drums since I was 12, so
Mm-hmm.
It's just the one that I've been doing most of the time. And it comes easier for me, I guess, than guitar, or because I'm not really like a shredder or anything. I just mostly just do power chords and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like with drums, it's just easier to just kind of jump into it. And I'm just doing it so much more often because everybody needs a drummer. Obviously, that's why I'm in all these bands.
Mm-hmm.
So it's easier for me to upkeep, and it comes to my mind, I think, a little bit faster. And I've always had like a thing for rhythm,
Yeah.
and I was in band for 4 years for percussion. So it's just like I can read music for it and everything like that. And it's just something I'm more knowledgeable about, I guess. And singing is like when you're writing music, I mean, that is so much harder. It's so much harder to write lyrics for me because
So
it has to be like you have to just already kind of be in the zone of it.
yeah.
And drums is like I can literally do drums like no matter what. It doesn't matter. If somebody else brings me something, I can jump right on it. So it's the easiest thing for me to write to.
So do you enjoy writing music more than lyrics?
I actually
Depends.
write. I enjoy writing lyrics probably the most. I
You do?
really
Okay.
enjoy putting pen to paper, and I mean that's why I love doing vocals. Because I like to. I've always been very into like literature and English and writing and stuff like that. So poetry and stuff. That's more of my thing, and my way to get poetry out is to sing it. So that's my number one thing, honestly, out of everything that I do.
Are there any like other types of tracks you wanted to try? Like people would try like spoken poems, or people would do instrumental, or people, different things, or skits even. Is there anything like different you wanted to incorporate in any of the projects?
Yeah, well, I've actually done a couple of I've done like a spoken word kind of thing with one of the songs in that Motion Picture does. Um, it was more like a spoken word, but like obviously with a track behind it. But it
What was the
wasn't.
name of it?
The song is called But It's Probably a Train, and that song is actually originally a December Skyline song, so you can find it online, but Motion Picture is going to bring it back and put it on
Okay.
streaming with our next album. So,
Oh,
but if you want, I can send that song to you after this whole thing,
sure.
so you can check that out. But I did a little piece of spoken word in there, and I did try to write poetry with no music behind it, and eventually I put music behind it.
Of course.
But I also like doing instrumental stuff too. I used to do instrumental stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And with Reach for the Skies, I actually had a couple of instrumental tracks that had no lyrics or vocals or anything on them at all. So I do enjoy doing stuff like that. But
Okay.
yeah, I kind of sometimes I'll just kind of dip into weird stuff. So just
Hey,
depends on how I'm feeling.
there's nothing wrong with that. Is
Yeah.
there like any other genre types you'd like to try out, or any other instruments you'd like to try to learn?
Yeah, actually I really wanted to try to branch out and maybe try to do some like I mean everything that I kind of want to branch out to more so usually it's more of a subgenre of stuff I'm already into. But
Okay.
I actually just I did a SoundCloud rap song
Oh,
with my buddies. We were messing around and we jumped on a track, and kind of I wrote to one of those, and so there's a song out there that is more SoundCloud rap, hip hop, whatever. And I actually really want to try to get into that, but it's a lot more difficult because I'd have to produce my own beats or find somebody to do it, and then it's a much different feel, and it's I don't know, it's a much different feel, definitely. And I don't remember what the second question was. Can you repeat the second question?
instruments, like any other instruments
Oh,
you'd want to do?
instruments. Okay.
It's okay.
Other
I know it's kind of
instruments.
like a full Like I
Yeah,
meant to ask the one, and I'm like, oh, I came up with this one, and I kind of put them
yeah.
together.
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah. So I played a little bit of piano, but not great. I'm very basic
Okay.
piano and stuff. But I would like to be actually a lot better at that, and I would like to I've been thinking about taking lessons and stuff for that. I would
Okay.
also love to play violin. I would love to learn violin. Um I mean, I'm pretty much open to anything at this point. I love almost all instruments. I played a bunch of different instruments, and I just kind of want to utilize everything I can because I love layers. I love
Yeah.
layers. Absolutely. So um, I'm gonna start playing triangle here in a little bit.
Triangle.
Yeah, I
Hey,
bought a couple triangles. I bought a couple triangles because I
that's
just like to put
awesome.
anything. I like
Yeah,
anything that makes a noise. I want to put it. I want to put it somewhere. I really do.
that's
So
awesome.
yeah, and I'm actually trying to relearn the trumpet too. That
Oh,
that didn't go so well, but I'm trying. I'm trying.
I played trumpet in like fifth grade
Yeah, so did I. So did I. And
in
then
band.
I thought that because I played it in fifth grade that I could play it now, and that was a lie.
It's kind of
So
hard actually with the breathing, and then
it's
it's
very hard.
it's messy and oh god, I don't
Yeah,
miss that.
I was really good at it. I don't know. I'm blaming it on the trumpet, but I think it's me. I'm blaming it on the trumpet though. I think it's the trumpet's fault. I think I need a
Oh,
different trumpet.
was it an old trumpet?
I mean, it was like $100 trumpet, and I was like, "Oh, well,
Oh,
I'm gonna get a blue one." And I was just mostly going for
a
looks, and
blue
I'm
one.
just like, but it's like, yeah, it's like How I Met Your Mother, right? But I'm probably gonna. I don't want to have to invest in a $300 trumpet, but I might have to just to find out if it's me or not. So,
Well, and if you need to, maybe use a track. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, right.
Do you use like what programs do you use for your tracks and everything?
Okay, so with motion picture, this is well, I'm gonna go with motion picture. At first, with
Okay.
Reach for the Skies, I was using Adobe Audition, and
Mhm.
I was actually creating my tracks in Guitar Pro, which is very difficult, by the way,
Mhm.
because you have to actually compose it with notes in there.
Mhm.
And so you make tablature pretty much, and then I had to do this whole I went into this whole rabbit hole of how to figure out how to get these tracks recorded. So you have to take a Guitar Pro file, and then you have to save it as a MIDI file,
Oh,
and then
Jesus.
yes, and then I had to find a MIDI to MP3 converter, and then you convert the MIDI to MP3, and then you take the MP3, and then I would drop it into Adobe Audition, and then I would take a Rock Band microphone from
Oh,
the video
gee.
game,
Yes. Oh my
and then
gosh.
I would record my vocals with that, and then that's how I would get all that stuff going. So it was a whole rabbit hole of a mess that I had to figure out.
Jeez.
And now I've been kind of utilizing more so using Fruity Loops to
Okay.
program drums and stuff. So that's what I'm going to try to do by myself. Um, but with motion picture, my friend Phil, he is the guitarist. He's the one. He's got all the knowledge, and he went to school for audio production, and he knows how to do
Mm.
live sound and recording and everything like that. So that's who did motion pictures recordings. So
Oh, okay.
we used Pro Tools, and then Phil went
Mm.
from using an Apple, a Mac, to using a PC. And with that transition, he was not able to use, or it was either he wasn't able to use Pro Tools on that, or he wasn't able to use it on the new Mac or something like that. I don't know exactly what happened, but he was able to use Pro Tools. And so we switched over, I think, to Reaper. So we use Reaper now. And yeah, that's pretty much what we're doing. I think.
I
I
heard
think that's everything. Yeah.
I heard Pro Tools is really hard to use.
Oh, it's hard. It's hard. I went to college. I failed right out.
Oh, gee.
I failed right out. I
Have you
was like,
tried
I don't want to do this anymore. It was very discouraging. But
I've
he knows
had
how to use it. He knows how to
hey,
use it.
have you
So
ever tried GarageBand?
I did try GarageBand. I don't have a Mac though, so I tried to do it on my phone, and I
Um,
gave up. I gave up.
I kind
But
of
I
messed
did
around
mess
with
with
it.
it.
It's
Yeah.
like, here's the drums, here's this, here's a keyboard. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I would definitely love to mess around with GarageBand more, but I would have to get a Mac to do that. So
Yeah. Oh,
I prefer it on an actual computer, not on my phone. Not on my
well,
phone.
yeah, of course. It's a lot
Yeah.
easier to mess
So
with.
much, yeah, so
Any
much
of the
more.
creative stuff is better with a Mac. I have a Mac now, actually. That's what I'm using.
Oh, cool,
Um,
cool.
yeah. So I'm trying to think of what else to talk about. So do you have like any announcements to make, like any news of anything coming up that you want to talk about?
Yeah, well, yeah, so as far as well, Saint Tragedy's got some stuff cooking up.
Okay.
We're actually gonna be coming out with another single. Well, the single's already been out, but we have some big news with that. I can't go into too much detail because we're trying to be a little bit more hush hush about it. But we
Okay.
have some pretty big things coming. I know that bands always say that, but we have really big things coming, and so I'm pretty excited about that. Looking to get a more high quality music video done, and we're gonna be pushing a song to our record label Pavement, and we're gonna try to get that song rolling out and see how things go as far as that goes. And so that's for Saint Tragedy. And my band Bless the Martyr, of course, we're recording an EP, and that's going to be coming out in the spring.
All
So I'm
right.
excited about that. And then as far as motion picture mindset goes, we're actually my birthday is this weekend coming up. So as a birthday gift, we're going to finally start final tracks for our album that we've been working on for 3 years.
Oh, wow.
So it's been a rough time because of the pandemic hitting. Like as soon as we
Hmm.
finally got all the songs done, we wrote the songs a year prior. We were writing the whole album for a year. As like the week before the pandemic hit, we were getting started on recording, you know, some pre-production to kind of figure out how we wanted everything to sound, and so that we could practice everything. Pandemic hit, we didn't see each other for pretty much a year, and then
Oh, wow.
finally got all the stuff done, finally got all the songs pre-produced or pre-production, and then we've been stale again for another year. So finally going to start getting the actual final tracks done.
That's
That's going to start
awesome.
this weekend, and hopefully in the next few months, hopefully by summertime, Motion Picture will have a 10-track album out, and that's going to be insane because it's a totally different. It's not a totally different sound, but it's a totally new sound, and we got some nice, interesting surprises on there. And shout out to my buddy Jansen, who's throwing synthesizers on that.
That's
So
awesome.
it's going to be really cool. It's going to be really cool because yeah, just from the first album to this album is a huge growing process, and it's going to be really great. I think people are going to be really excited about this once it comes out. So I'm very excited about that. That's mostly my biggest thing there. And then Reach for the Skies. Nobody knows this right now. You're like literally the only one that knows this because
Woo!
something happened where I got really upset over some stuff that happened, personal issues that happened, and so I went into kind of a hole of depression, and
Oh,
I
I'm
decided that I
sorry.
was going to quit doing my solo stuff. I decided I was going to quit. I
I
decided I
thought
was
I
done.
saw something about that, and I was like,
Yeah, I tore it
hmm.
off. I tore all my songs off of Facebook. They're all just hidden. They're all hidden. So I was like, I'm done. Blah blah blah. But my cousin is actually working on artwork right now. Um, she drew up some artwork for me for Reach for the Skies. So this is my solo project is officially back to Reach for the Skies. Nobody really knows that. It's because it was just solo stuff, right? So Reach for the Skies is back, and I've got album art coming out. I'm going to be recording that, and so I'm going to be recording that, putting album art for that. I'm going to put the Facebook page back up, and I'm going to start running that again. And so yeah, that's probably what I'm most excited for, is actually getting my solo stuff back out there. I'm gonna as soon as my birthday hits, I'm gonna drop everything. I'm dropping everything online.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then I'll
good
be
for
starting.
You.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited.
One good for you for like stepping out like with the band, trying a new sound, and then doing your own thing and doing something that you want to do on the side. That's awesome, because that's how you, like you said, you're growing, and that's what it is you're trying something new, you're trying something different, you're expanding yourself, and it might lead somewhere. You never know.
Yeah, always. Yeah, I got my foot on the gas, and I've decided that I'm not going to stop. Those 3 years, they were the longest 3 years of my life not doing music. So at this point, it's kind of like I've just pretty much hit the ground running, and I'm not looking back, and I'm just going to keep on going. And if anything happens, that'd be awesome. And if it doesn't, I've at least been able to have an awesome time doing it, and people enjoyed what I've done. And especially now with how much I've been doing music and getting out there, my solo stuff has been blowing up because I have a bigger following from all the other bands I've been in. So that when I posted my first song, I had an overwhelming response to that, because I'm so used to going and playing shows to a couple people, and I'm so used to only having like I think Reach for the Skies only has like 20 something likes on Facebook right now. So once I drop all the information, I cannot wait to see what happens when I actually record stuff and actually have stuff on streaming services for the first time. So it's going to be amazing, and I decided I'm just going to go ahead and do it. I've been feeling better, and I have some really sick album art. Shout out to my cousin Izzy. She's throwing it together beautifully, and I can't wait for people to see what I have in store, because it's going to be pretty crazy. So
that's awesome, man. I'm so happy for you. That's great.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're gonna end this now.
Yeah, it feels like it's been a while.
I know, we have to like actually get together.
Yeah, definitely.
But this was great. Thank you for doing this for me. I mean, I'm doing this for a class, and if this turns into something, I might do this again with you or with one of your bands, or we'll see. I mean,
I'm sure. I mean, there's definitely more to it. I have layers of stuff in here, so
that's awesome.
Yeah, all of my bands are totally open for it, I'm sure. And just reach out to me and let me know what's up, and I could definitely give you more content. That's for sure. So
certainly. Well, we will, maybe after the big reveals.
yes.
And we'll have lots to talk about.
Oh yeah. There you go.
All right. Well, it was nice talking to you.
Yeah, you too. Definitely. This was fun.
Yes, it was. Thank you so much.
No problem. Of course.
All right.